projects being implemented between our two countries in different areas, including industrial cooperation, agriculture, and mining. These projects are at various stages of implementation, and we believe that these initiatives will yield significant benefits for our respective citizens. Going forward, we will establish a monitoring mechanism that will allow us to assess the progress of the agreements signed and the ongoing economic projects on a regular basis. I thank you for your kind attention.
Monsieur le ministre Jean-Claude Nguesso, nous vous invitons à prendre la parole.
Mes hommages, Excellence, Monsieur le chef d'État. Tout à l'heure, je vais me faire compléter par mon collègue en charge de la coopération.
Completed by my colleague in charge of international cooperation. Your Excellencies, heads of states, honorable ministers, honorable ambassadors, it's not easy to talk about the long relationship of brotherhood between Rwanda and the Republic of Congo without having in mind the two figures who are the masters, His Excellency the President Paul Kagame and Denis Sassou Nguesso, who've crafted this cooperation patiently, methodically, unwaveringly, and made this an exemplar in terms of relations. In 1994, when the worst tragedy struck this country, that of the history of Africa and the world, and I mean the genocide against the Tutsis, the Republic of the Congo was at the forefront, was the country that received the first refugees in different successive waves of different sizes. Many Rwandans found asylum and protection in the Republic of the Congo, in northern cities, in the center and in the south. And progressively they became integrated in the Congolese society. And generally, they were welcomed with open arms. I can also say that thanks to the presence of these refugees, the Congolese, especially those in Brazzaville, learned that Rwandans were hard-working people. And today, dear friends, the cooperation between our two countries, as my colleague will elaborate on it, is an example of South-South cooperation and complementarity, exchange of experiences, South-South exchange, and mutual support within international organizations at the United Nations and the agencies, the World Health Organization, also, of course, the African Union, the Francophonie, the CRC, and others. The state visit that His Excellency the President Paul Kagame had in Brazzaville last year in the Republic of the Congo remains in our memories back home and remains an indelible memory, especially his address to the Congress in Congo. But let me digress a little bit, Your Excellencies. I have another older memory. It was in 2004 in the second city of our country, Pointe-Noire. The President, Denis Nguesso, launched a modernization program that we called the accelerated municipalization. And President Paul Kagame back in 2004 was on his brother's side in Pointe Noire. I don't know if President Kagame remains this. And during the state banquet, one of the most famous musicians, Yolo Mabiala, who electrified the stage in that room and collapsed in front of the heads of states. It was in 2004. In 2004, it was a memorable day. So today, President Denis Sassou Nguesso is on a state visit here in Rwanda with all the honors that he deserves. And I'd like to say that our cooperation is not only economic, it's also it's a memorable cooperation. The President Denis Sassou Nguesso was here in Kigali on the occasion of the 25 years of the genocide against the Tutsis. And I take this opportunity to commemorate the 29th anniversary of liberation, which will be celebrated shortly in Kigali. So economic cooperation and diplomatic cooperation, both of our countries work hand in hand with joint commissions and uncharted territories and fields in many occasions, in spite of some internal conflicts and transborder conflicts, like this war in the Sudan and these consequences with refugees in Central African Republic and Chad, two countries that did not need more suffering. Ladies and gentlemen, Libya is not in Central Africa, I agree, but is on our continent, and especially in our hearts. A country that today is being torn apart since 12 years already, 12 years, with two rival governments disputing their leadership and inflicting suffering on the population. And President Sassou Nguesso, here present, works unwaveringly to reconcile the rival factions in Libya. He's unrelenting. He's suggesting them to be tolerant. He suggests them to forgive and reconcile. And a few days ago in Brazzaville, Your Excellency President Kagame, your brother was working on this again in Brazzaville. And we've also left behind Libyans from the west, from east and the south. Also, the president of the African Union, Moussa Faki, and the representative of the Arab League, we left them in Brazzaville working for commitment to reconcile in Libya. Ladies and gentlemen, how could I not salute the successful diplomatic actions by Your Excellency Mr. Paul Kagame, President Paul Kagame, and especially through the Francophonies, and this since two mandates of the one that Congolese know as President Sassou's little sister. I've named Louise Mushikiwao, whose organization will be making sportsmen and sportswomen vibrate in Kinshasa through the Francophonie Games. And I take this opportunity to salute the forthcoming organization of the African World Cup of veteran footballers here in Kigali. You know, President Sassou is a big fan of football, so Rwanda is organizing that African and World Cup, actually, of the veteran football players. And finally, like I said, my colleague will say more about this. Allow me, Your Excellency, to give the floor to my colleague in charge of international cooperation to reiterate briefly our journey of the last 2 years in terms of our cooperation and the prospects in terms of that cooperation. Thank you.
Monsieur le ministre Denis Christel Sassou Nguesso, on vous invite à prendre la parole.
Minister Denis Christian Sassou Nguesso, you have the floor.
Excellence, Monsieur le Président de la République du Congo.
President of the Republic of Congo.
Monsieur le Président de la République du Rwanda.
Excellency, the President of the Republic of Rwanda, ladies and gentlemen, ministers, ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen. The cooperation between the Republic of Congo and Rwanda is directed by the agreement of 22nd November 2015 signed in Kigali that has so far had 5 sessions. The last one was held on the 23rd and 24th November 2021 by video conference. To date, the legal framework of our cooperation is large and diverse. It comprises 33 legal instruments. 7 of them were signed during the 5th session of the Joint Commission, and 8 was signed during the state visit of His Excellency Paul Kagame in the Republic of Congo on the dates of 11th to 13th of November 2022. Of all those agreements, it's important to distinguish general agreements which lead to create cooperation in some sectors from agreements that concern specific projects. Today we need to direct our attention towards the agreements that constitute the execution of specific projects. Today we have 5 of those. One, the concession of the commercial and industrial park of Maluku. The works that are underway concern the construction of roads by SGE company, installation of 6 generators for generation of 14 megawatts of electricity. And before the end of this year, we hope to restart 4 production units, which are the paint factory, plastic packaging, electric cables, and production of containers. Through the Ministry of Energy and Hydraulics, we are going to provide water and electricity, and the Telecommunications Ministry will take charge of internet connectivity. With all those things I cited, the Congo side sees a lot of importance in the execution of this project. Secondly, the rice production. Crystal Ventures Limited and the Ministry responsible for lands have identified land in the Nyari, Bwenza and Pul departments. And today we have 121,000 hectares that are available on the 158,000 hectares that will, in the end, cover this project. The project will be executed in Rudima in the Bwenza department. A Swiss company is working on the feasibility of this project, and before the end of August 2023, the study should be completed. On the other hand, any company is carrying out tests today to identify the right seeds to be planted in Congo. For the last 2 weeks, engineers are working on soil testing in Ludima. And at the end of these studies, the execution date will be fixed. Third project, agro-pastoral development in Yamba and Mazangi Ranch. 11,000 hectares have been the subject of a permit for Rwandans to develop those agro-pastoral activities in Congo. In Yamba, the first tests of the profitability for maize plantation have been started. Fourth project, mining. Following the efforts of the Ministry of Mines and Geology, Crystal Venture had obtained 4 exploration projects, and today the mine of Kanga Michopo has been accorded to them, and in August 2023 the mining activities will start. The fifth project concerns the dry port of Lindsay. Today, nothing much has been done, but we strongly hope that in the next few months, the two sides will start discussions in order to give impulse to that project as well. Having said all that, you can see that all the projects, except the one concerning the dry port of Dolizy, you can see that all those projects have been started very satisfactorily. We need in Congo water and electricity and internet. We will therefore contribute our part, without which the industrial park of Maluku will not be successful. I would like to thank you for your kind attention.
Merci, Monsieur le Ministre. On va procéder à la signature d'un accord.
Thank you, ministers. Now we are going to have the signature of an agreement. Minister Ngabitsinse, MOU on the African Free Trade Agreement.
Thank you, ministers. You may take your seats. Your Excellency, President Paul Kagame, Votre Excellence, Monsieur le Président Sassou Nguesso, we will now begin with the interaction with the press, starting with statements from Your Excellencies, followed by questions from the press. It is now my honor to invite Your Excellency, President Paul Kagame, to deliver your remarks.
Excellency, dear brother, President Denis Sassou Nguesso, President of the Republic of Congo, and the honorable delegation that came with you, and through all of you, we send greetings back to our brothers and sisters back in Congo. Mr. President, we are honored to have you here during this visit. And as has been said, the good relationship between our two countries speaks for itself, and will continue to do so through action and results based on what has also been stated to us that is going on over the last weeks and months, and looking forward to good results. We were pleased that you visited us at this time. You found time despite many things you are dealing with, and we are very happy to be presented with an opportunity to honor you, Mr. President, for the reasons that have already been stated. Not only matters to do with our bilateral relations and the closeness of our two countries, but also the engagement and your efforts across our continent for peace, stability, and prosperity of the people of this continent. We want to see more interactions, beginning with two countries, but we want to see our two countries thrive and interact more with the people of our continent. And we already have progress in the area of African continental free trade area. We want to make that work. We want Rwanda and Congo to be in the lead of making this progress work for our continent. I will not go through the details of projects again that have already been mentioned, but these were just stated for us to make sure that our collaborators work more closely together and put more energy into it, and we see accelerated progress that we desire to have. Let me therefore welcome you once again, Mr. President, and assure you that this is a moment we have cherished, and we will build on it going forward. And you will see us more in Congo Brazzaville. We wish to see you more. You, I mean you, President, but also the people of Congo. We should, both people in Congo and Rwanda, when they are visiting each other, they should feel at home. Once again, all the best to you, and best wishes through you to the people of Congo. Thank you very much.
Votre Excellence, Monsieur le Président Sassou Nguesso, nous vous invitons à prendre
Your Excellency, President Denis Sassou Nguesso, I invite you to take the floor.
Excellence, Monsieur.
Your Excellency, Mr. President Paul Kagame, my dear brother,
Monsieur le Ministre,
honorable
Mesdames,
ministers,
Messieurs les ministres,
ladies and gentlemen, ministers,
chers frères, chers amis,
dear brothers, dear friends,
je dois d'abord
I would like to first of all thank my brother, President Paul Kagame, for
l'invitation
the invitation
nous a adressée
extended to us for a state visit
ici au Rwanda,
here in Rwanda, following
de ce qui a effectué dans notre pays.
his state visit in our country.
Depuis hier,
And since yesterday,
notre pays,
our country
notre peuple
and our people
ont été
have been
honorés ici,
very honored here,
d'abord par l'accueil
first
chaleureux
by the warm welcome
réservé
that was extended to us the whole day yesterday and during the evening,
et ensuite par cet
and then
honneur
by that honor to
peuple à notre
our people,
pays, à
our
travers
country, through
la haute distinction
the highest honor
qui nous a été
that was
décernée.
awarded to us last
Nous
evening.
l'avons dit, nous le redisons.
We've said it and we repeat it now.
Cette distinction,
That honor,
à travers notre personne, a
through my person, has honored
notre pays, notre
our country and our people,
encore redire
and
merci.
I want to say thank you again today.
Et
And
je l'ai dit hier au
I said it
Parlement,
yesterday at the Parliament
aussi,
and
lors
also
du toast.
during the banquet.
Et j'ai dit que
I said that
le président Paul Kagame
President Paul Kagame
effectivement marqué l'histoire
indeed
de
has
son pays, l'histoire
marked the history of his country and the history of the world as well,
puisque
because
après la tragédie
after the
qui a été
tragedy
connue dans ce pays
that your
en 94,
country has known in 1994,
il a pu
he was
replacer
able to
ce pays, ce
uh,
peuple
rebuild this country and its people
le plus élevé
and took it to
sa cohésion,
a high level in terms of internal
au
cohesion,
niveau le plus élevé de la
at the highest
capacité
level
de
of
reconstruction,
the capacity of rebuilding the
au
nation,
niveau le plus élevé de
the
la relation
highest level
avec
in terms
les
of
autres
relations with
et du monde.
other peoples of Africa and the world.
Placer ce pays
And he put this
à un
country
niveau de notoriété
at a level of
admirable.
popularity which is admirable.
C'est ce qui
And
permet
this is what
au Rwanda et au
allows Rwanda and the Congo
relancer
to
la coopération.
rebuild and boost their relations,
Venait de parler.
as the minister has just explained.
En ce qui me concerne, je pense
And as
que
far as I'm concerned, I think, like I've said this to President Paul Kagame as well,
nous devons
we must
rester très regardants
remain
et obtenir que
vigilant
nos collaborateurs
and ensure that all of our collaborators at all levels work as hard as possible to move towards concrete and tangible results. Cooperation cannot remain a ritual from joint commission to joint commission, from us signing accords and to other accords, and then to let those accords collect dust in ministry building shelves. We need results. I also would like to say that the President Kagame, his people and his government played an active role in efforts to re-establish peace and security in Africa through the African Union, sub-regional communities in Central Africa, in East Africa, and sometimes directly through bilateral relations with states. I must say that in 2006, 2007, when I was president of the African Union, and there was a major security challenge in Darfur, we called upon African heads of states to send troops to Darfur under the United Nations. And it's thousands of Rwandan soldiers that we received in the Darfur. Second example, I was a mediator in the Central African Republic crisis. And on that occasion, we saw in Central Africa Rwandan troops coming. There were also Congolese troops, Burundian troops, and from other states under the United Nations. But beyond that, in the Central African Republic, there was bilateral agreements between the Central African Republic of Rwanda that saw Rwanda sending more troops into Central Africa, this time around through bilateral relations. We've been following the difficult situation in Mozambique. It's no longer Central Africa. It's not the East African community. No, it's now SADC, and I think those troops are still out there. They're still down there. So Rwandan troops went to the rescue of the government and the people of Mozambique to try and restore peace and security in Mozambique. And I think the results are there for everyone to see. So we were talking about the IFCFA, CFTA. Now, that agreement has been bearing fruits, and it will do more when there is more peace in Africa, with free movement of people and goods. The IFCFTA can only work. IFCFTA can only work in Africa when we bring products and they go through borders, and people being able to take them to another country. if we did not have that agreement, then people cannot easily move around and exchange goods. How can we develop commerce on our continent? So we already have free movement of people and goods. And for this free movement to be possible, there has to be infrastructure, communications infrastructure. The goods cannot be moved around without roads, railroads, without ferries. It's not possible. Then you also have telecommunications. This is an important weapons. So everyone can buy their own goods in a different country, being in their own living room. If we don't have such infrastructure in Africa, I think, unfortunately, we don't have those infrastructure in Africa. There's also the will to make sure that there is peace in Africa and the commitment to ensure that we have free movement of people from one country to another. And yesterday, I reiterated this during my speech. So right here in Kigali, it's President Kagame and President Idris Deby, may his soul rest in peace, who initiated this amazing project to have a Pan-African passport. A Pan-African passport. That was not just talk, it was a serious message to Africa to make sure that Africans move in Africa and feel at home everywhere in Africa. President Kagame, he raised his passport, and he told me that he still has his passport. President Idris Deby also produced his passport, waived his passport here in Kigali, and I think his passport is still very well kept in Jamena. I myself went through all the steps, had my fingerprints taken, or had my photo taken. The whole procedure yesterday. I asked the President Kagame to give me my passport. So that's what I'm talking about. Africa, well, I think that you have to go step by step. The first step was to, it's up to us. That's why we're here today, cooperation between Rwanda and the Congo. So we need to take that step, and that has to become an example. I think that all of our collaborators will help us to attain that goal. And I am delighted to be here in Kigali. And I came here many times now. I've come here many times here in Rwanda. I will be back. There's no doubt about that. And as President Kagame said, we are going to encourage free movement of Congolese to Rwanda and Rwandans to Congo, and do all that's possible to make sure that that small brick in building Africa takes shape seriously. Thank you. Thank you, my dear brother Paul. We will organize for having organized this wonderful visit. Thank you so much.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Nous allons maintenant passer aux questions de la presse.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Commencerons par la presse.
Now we will accept questions from the press. We'll start with the Congo press. Please be concise and short in your questions.
Merci bien, Messieurs
Thank you
les Présidents. Je suis
to both presidents. Celestin Okanoireka, journalist from Congo-Brazzaville. My question is addressed to the President of the Republic of Rwanda, His Excellency Paul Kagame. Mr. President, in April 2022, you came to Congo in a state visit. 1 year later, your brother from Congo comes to Rwanda. Mr. President, what meaning do you give to these regular visits at the highest level between Brazzaville and Kigali?
Merci.
Thank you.
These visits stem from the desire for the people of Congo and the people of Rwanda, led by the leaders present here, both of us, to work together. And these visits make the distance between Rwanda and Congo very short. It compresses the distance. And it means that being example, that's how we want Africa and the countries on our continent to relate to one another as well and as one people across the continent. But it is not just the visits. We want the visits to be built on working together on tangible foundation, actions, and results that we can see when people are investing in each other's countries. And if we do business with each other, and if we see development on both sides of Congo and Rwanda coming up and going beyond our own borders, the two visits are just about that. They are about creating first the connection of the two countries, but through that, connect with the rest of the continent and allow the rest of the continent to connect with us through different means. And it means we are there for each other. When there is any problem in one country, we can work together to address it. If it is in another, the same thing. That's how really people should be living together. We shouldn't allow these artificial barriers to prevent people from doing what they should be doing for themselves. So that's, I think, the message is clear. It has been clear for a long time. We shouldn't just, and I will agree entirely with the President, that we shouldn't just be talking and saying nice things, but we should see good results from the very things we intend to do or we say we want to do. That's when we shall have given the meaning of to that interaction and the crossing of bridges to either Congo or Rwanda.
Thank you, Mr. President. We'll now take a question from the Rwandan press. Philbert.
Thank you. My name is Philbert Girinema. I work for UGA. Your Excellency, my question goes to you, Your Excellency President Paul Kagame and President Nguesso. Referring to the speech made by Minister Denis. Rwanda and the Republic of Congo have committed to a series of agreements to invest in each other's key sectors. However, many criticize this intra-African investment, saying that it's unreliable and exploitative. I would love to hear from you, Your Excellencies. What do you say to those critics? Thank you very much.
Ce que je n'ai pas compris, exploitation, c'est quoi? Pour être explicite, qui parle d'exploitation, je ne comprends pas.
My question is about this investment between this agreement between Rwanda and Congo. There are some people who criticize this partnership, saying that it is unreliable, and I want to hear from you. What do you say about it?
I don't think it is any clearer.
Bon, mais il s'agit certainement de personnes qui n'ont rien compris.
These are people who don't understand anything. All we are saying is that we are building Africa. Those who criticize these efforts have understood nothing. The agreements that we just presented are so clear. They concern development, the development of sectors such as agriculture, such as industry. That means the possibility given to Africa to produce in Africa, to produce goods instead of importing them from the end of the world. We will be producing goods and services in Africa. We'll be able to process our own raw materials. We will develop the mining sector. We will explore our soils to find minerals. And I really don't see how a real African, a true African, can criticize. What did you say again? You say people say it's not. People criticize that, right? They say it's not, cooperation is not credible. Well, these are people who don't understand. Let's continue to explain. Not everyone will understand things at the same time. We'll continue to explain. But at our level, things are very clear, and they fit perfectly into the vision that we have, a vision of building Africa. If some people don't understand this, we will continue to explain. They will end up understanding. I think when they see the results, they will understand that these projects are credible. That's why we are asking our collaborators to produce results, and after that, everyone will understand. Thank you.
I just add a little bit to what the President has said, but I think he has said all that needed to be said. And I had the same problem of understanding what the question meant. But let me, without wasting time, we shall invite the critics to accompany us on this journey. I'll pay them their ticket. I'll pay for that. And they can keep following it to see the meaning, the viability of what we are trying to do together, the two countries. The only problem is we haven't gone far yet. We just have a lot of work before us to do, and we should get down to work and then give the critics something to talk about that is there, but not criticize something that hasn't even happened. So I think the journalists or the critics are doing their job. Let's do our job too. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellencies. We'll take a last question from Kagabo.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Je m'appelle Jean-Pierre Kagabo. Je suis journaliste.
Jean-Pierre Kagabo. My name is Jean-Pierre Kagabo. I'm a journalist at Rwandan television. I will ask a question regarding security challenges. You mentioned them briefly. What is the state of cooperation between the Republic of Congo and Rwanda? Are you satisfied? What can you do to improve it even further?
Mais je suis satisfait.
I am satisfied because the direction is clear. We need to have clear ideas. We have given clear guidance. We identified clear projects. We signed agreements that are clear, and they cannot be misconstrued. The agreements are clear. Some projects have been identified. And I always say that the longest journey starts with the first step. We have identified a number of projects. Let's execute them. Let's implement them. Then we'll carry out an assessment. Personally, I'm very confident. And as we just said, we are asking our administrations and collaborators to work hard and produce results. You will see there will be results. I have no doubt about that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellencies, once again for your time. Monsieur le Président Sassou Nguesso, nous vous souhaitons de continuer à passer d'agréables moments parmi nous.
Mr. President Denis Sassou Nguesso, we wish you a wonderful stay as long as you are among us.